in the Access Syllabus book, I reference Rosalia Kladek and Enrico Giacchetti as two of the most well-known people in the 1920s who were applying biomechanics to their work. Meyerhold was another one, and I'm sure there are others. It was a moment where science and art were interfacing, and it wouldn't surprise me in the least if there were other people who were working that way. Vaganova was a student of Giacchetti's, so her interest in biopsies for understanding whether or not people could do this kind of movement without getting hurt, I think has an obvious reference, because Giacchetti was her predecessor, and he was very interested in the application of science to ballet. Giacchetti's approach was moderation. He prescribed a lower arabesque. He worked with side bending, understanding the different curves of the spine and preserving them. He understood the shoulder axis. He had people bringing both their legs and their arms into the anterior space when they were flexed, and many other things. The understanding of the use of momentum, etc. That was all very well articulated by Giacchetti, at least for ballet dancers. And then Rosalia was very much interested in physiological effects. You set the body up, you let this happen, and then you can expect a series of effects to occur afterwards. And she had a very methodic way of writing those different possibilities out, right, or discussing them. And she also applied that to performance work. So, I think what we're doing is really far from unique. I think that the issue, especially in the classical world, of whether or not the dancing is going to be athletic or competitive sports, and whether or not it's going to be an artistic activity, is still going on. Right? There's still this argument, and I think the friction is that the argument kind of obscures the issue of health. If you pay attention, like if you look at the sports world, they're always listening to science, but not as a way of necessarily making people healthy. They want them to be able to perform better. So performance is an issue in the sense of doing more, of doing it faster, and not necessarily of staying healthy, right? We know that because top athletes only live like 60 till 60 years old, or 58. I think 59 is the, 59 to 60 is the mean. And it's, if that's kind of the model for athletic dance, then it's sort of a crash, burn, and die kind of approach to the human body, to the young person's welfare. If it's a question of aesthetics and artistic research, then once again health is not an issue, right? Because the body is considered to be plastic material for emotional expression or aesthetic expression, and then health doesn't really matter. Science only comes in actually either in prevention or in the study of pathology, and both of those are considered more therapeutic. So that's something you do after the fact. So that's why dancers actually only turn to more somatic approaches when they've been injured, which I think is should be the other way around. I think, and I say should, and I know that the Californians maybe will object, but I feel that if we understand first how our body's constructed and what we can predict or expect from it, then we can contextualize both the athletic and the aesthetic discussion.